to all of you who are here in the sanctuary and to all of you who are joining us virtually, wherever your camera may be. Okay. My name is Charles Gabriel, and I am your worship associate this morning. We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation, united in a common purpose to make love real in our lives and in the world. We are diverse in our beliefs, atheist and agnostic, believers and seekers, and we welcome you here no matter what your race, your class, your gender, your identity, your sexual orientation, your family structure, your job, your health, whatever. No matter what our differences are, we know that we are all a part of the independent web of life. Now, whether this is your first, fifth, or 15th visit, we invite you to introduce yourself to someone at the welcome table if you haven't done so already. They will be happy to answer any questions you have about this congregation or Unitarian Universalism in general. And please complete a visitor card if you haven't done so, and join us for fellowship and coffee in the dining room following service. Gender-neutral restrooms can be found at the bottom of the stairs in the back of the sanctuary. And gendered restrooms are through this door over here and down the hall, and use whichever one feels right to you. And by the way, this is something new. There is a new name tag caddy in the narthex for those who enter the sanctuary through the front doors. If you care to use that, feeling that it is more easy for you to get your name tag. Now today after worship, we have UU1 with Eric Foster. And if you are curious to learn more about our faith and our congregation, UU 101 will be held in the Children's Library near the elevator. Parenting as a spiritual practice will be held in the Sullivan Chapel with Reverend Hannah. Feminist Theology kicks off their year of programming with the Season of Witches in the Assembly Room. And all programs begin at noon. Additionally, please take note of any unsold or sold items that are in the Dascom room from the auction and pick these up. After a wildly successful event, we still have some pickup to do, so please make sure that you are taking home what you have won or need to bring back. Lastly, please mark your calendars for next Sunday at 4:30 when we are having a big, multi-generational spooktacular here on the grounds. There will be a trunk or treat for the kids and a costume parade. There will be a slime-making station, a labyrinth walk, and a pumpkin pie bake-off. Come one, come all. I have to say, Betsy and I have been to this for the last 2 years, and it is one of the best events that we have here at the church all year. It's just fabulous. And now, as we deepen into worship, I ask that you silence your cell phones and allow yourself to be present for this hour. But please, please don't silence your children. Their sounds are welcome here.
Let it be known that I added the pumpkin pie contest to the spectacular this year, and I will be the only judge. So use it as an opportunity to make an impression on me. And I love store-bought pumpkin pie, I will tell you. I'm no snob. Good. Find yourself here. No, really, look for yourself here. Is it within you? That still, small voice that cries out in the wilderness, in pain and loneliness, rife with wisdom we cannot hear or that we choose to drown out. Look for yourself here. Is it around you? That chorus of voices which shoulder your burden and press you along. A net which catches us as we falter, which reminds us of our better angels. and brings you soup when you are sick. Look for yourself here, all of you, messy and imperfect, extraordinary and ordinary. Find yourself. Welcome you, who wants to be better. Welcome you, who longs for love unbound. Welcome you, who feels jaded at the world. Welcome you, who knows a broken heart and sings anyway. Come, one and all, let us worship together this day.
Okay, let us sing. Please rise in body or spirit. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm way ahead of myself. Yes, it's time for the chalice lighting. And Jen Dye has graciously agreed to light the chalice for us. So please join me in the words printed in your order of service. We light this chalice, the beacon that calls us to love, to justice, to a deepening of the Spirit. Okay, now let's sing. Please rise in body or spirit for our first hymn, number 354, We Laugh, We Cry, in the gray hardback hymnal.
I want to invite up all those who are joining us today in our new member ceremony to come to the chancel. It's okay. It's okay. You can have it. Okay. I'm going to invite you to say your name and your pronouns into the microphone so we can get to know you. And you can also find short little bios of everyone who's joining us today in your order of service. I will note that both Jelana is sick today and is not able to be here, and Jillian Brown will also be joining officially as a member but wasn't able to be here as well. But today, we've got these wonderful people.
Michelle Mueller, she or they.
And Quinn.
Jindai Luck, she, her.
Rob Seitz, he, him.
Robert Seitz, he, him. She's Viola Elizabeth Seitz, she is she, her.
Marilyn Bruno Seitz, she, her.
Noah Jackson, he, him.
Hello, and Carla Campbell, your board president, she, her.
We forgot one important name as well.
Quinn! Quinn! He!
Great. Thanks, Quinn. Knocked it out of the park. Roman, would you like to pass out a flower to each person joining us today? Today, we welcome into membership at the Unitarian Society of Germantown 6 people who have found in our community a spiritual home. Becoming a member is a choice, one made in the long and majestic history of Unitarian Universalist theology of personal responsibility and freedom of religion. Membership is a declaration of belonging. The poet John O'Donohue says, "Belonging is the living and passionate presence of the soul. Belonging is the heart and warmth of intimacy. Our life's journey is the task of refining our belonging so that it may become more true, loving, good, and free." And so we welcome you, Noah and Marilyn and Rob and Jendai and Michelle and Jillian and Jelana, we welcome you too, into membership here, into belonging here, where your soul might continue to become more true, more loving, more good, and more free.
Each new member offers us a chance to draw the circle of this community wider. Would each member of this congregation please stand as you are able?
If you are a member, please stand.
Do you, as members of this congregation, promise to welcome as you were welcomed, to support as you were supported, love as you have been loved? If you agree, please say, "We do." We do. Each new member offers us a chance to hear new stories, receive new gifts, and live into the promise of beloved community. Do you, as newest members, promise to offer of yourselves, your stories, your gifts, and the work of building the beloved community?
We do. Into this new congregation, these new members are enfolded. May this community nurture and challenge them, offer comfort and guidance, and call forth the best within them. May they, in turn, bring energy, vision, and commitment, leading us ever closer to the community we strive to be. Welcome, one and all. And let us sing now as our children head to their classes. We gather together, number 349. If you're headed to CSD, you can head out that way.
Don't you just love it? This week, we return to the Henry and Lingelbach schools as our Share the Plate recipients. After responding to the immediacy of need in wake of Hurricane Helene and Milton, we turn to the more local and urgent needs of our public education system. Lingelbach and Henry are both within walking distance of this congregation. They are very much a part of our community, and we urge you to give to our Share the Plate today so that teachers there might buy the extra markers, provide newer books, and edify our children with the budgets all educators deserve. So please give generously, as we have found that the more we give away, the more comes our way. To give in cash or check, please drop it in the plate as ushers pass by. To give by text, please follow the instructions in your order of service.
I invite you to settle into a posture of prayer or meditation. Breathe in fully. Exhale completely. Breathe in fully. Exhale completely. Become present to the beating of your own heart. Feel the rhythm of the life force that pulses in you. Return to the breath. Inhale fully. Exhale completely. Spirit of life, we lift prayers today for those in our community who are hurting, for those who are celebrating. We lift prayers in gratitude and in shared sorrow. For Andrea Durham, after her father Selwyn suffered a stroke. May she know the love of this community and the healing power of our prayers enfold her father now. We lift prayers for Sarah West, whose heart has been made fuller by the support and love she's received from this place since entering hospice a few weeks ago. We hold Sarah close in our hearts and hope that her family feels our prayers winging to them now. We lift prayers of joy for Mary Kalina, who received a 2024 Social Justice Award from the Philadelphia Commission on Human Relations, for all of the ways that Mary has led us to be better, to build the beloved community, one act, one small act at a time. Our prayer today comes from the words of Ted Loder. Breathe restlessness into me. Thank you for all I forget are gifts, not rights. Forgive me for all the grievances I remember too well. Save me from the self-pity, the self-seeking, which is true poverty. Guide me if I am willing. Drive me if I am not into the hard ways of sacrifice, which are just and loving. Make me wide-eyed for beauty and for my neighbor's need and goodness. Make me wide-willed for peacemaking and for the confronting power with the call to compassion. Make me wide-hearted for love and for the unloved, who are the hardest to touch and need it the most. Dull the envy in me, which criticizes and complains life into 1,000 ugly bits. Keep me honest and tender enough to heal, tough enough to be healed of my hypocrisies. Match my appetite for privilege with the stomach for commitment. Teach me the great cost of paying attention, that naked to the dazzle of your back as you pass, I may know I am always on holy ground. Breathe into me the restlessness and courage to make something new, something saving, and something true, that I may understand what it is to rejoice. May it be so, and amen.
At this time, we invite you to contribute your joys and sorrows to the bowls of water at the front of the sanctuary. Choose a smooth stone or a pebble and place it in the water, absorbing your pain or rippling out with your joy. Sterns will play as we process. And after everyone has processed, Reverend Hannah will place one smooth stone and one pebble into the water on behalf of those joining us online. These remain seated for Spirit of Life, after which we will share in a moment of silence.
Please remain seated for Spirit of Life.
The topic of today's service is contradictions and paradox. Reminds me of the old vaudeville joke, it's a real groaner, that many of you have probably heard numerous times. What do you call a gynecologist and a gerontologist? A paradox. I told you it would be a groaner. This typifies a contradiction or paradox that we frequently experience here at USG. An irrelevant or irreverent comment in the midst of a spiritual event. But let me step back a bit and talk about contradictions and paradoxes that I have experienced. I grew up in a very loving and caring Lebanese family. My parents, my grandmother, my aunts, my uncles, my many cousins all loved me unconditionally and expressively. I felt like I was the center of the universe. This was my entire life experience until I entered first grade. And I found out that there were other children who felt that they were the center of the universe. What a contradiction. About the same time that I started elementary school, my Catholic parents entered me in catechism classes at St. Paulinus Roman Catholic Parish in our hometown of Clairton, Pennsylvania. I, along with other children, were indoctrinated with the concept that Jesus was both God and man. How could this be? A paradox. And for 12 years, this paradox was drummed over and over into my conscience until I finally solved that paradoxical puzzle, completely eliminating it from my life. But that left me with a contradiction. How to have a spiritual experience without this basic belief? So for many, many years, I wandered spiritually aimless and, yes, rather unfulfilled. Then a series of life changes brought Betsy and I to the Unitarian Society of Germantown, seeking not answers, but community in our new home in Metro Philadelphia. I was surprised that in addition to community, I found a solution to my paradox. Instead of believing in Jesus Christ, God and man, I found the dignity and worth of every living thing. I found a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. I found respect for the interdependent web of all existence. And most of all, I found a loving and caring family where the ultimate principle is unconditional love. I found you.
Gotta say, Charles, your joke kind of threw me off my game. No more Broners. You've earned yourself the minister's approval of your remarks next time. The title of this sermon is Bundles of Contradictions. The name came from my wife's family, specifically my aunt by marriage, Gail Capaldi, who is a larger-than-life personality with a wicked sense of humor. One of her favorite pastimes is reminding us all that we are bundles of contradictions. So when I texted the family thread, of which there are 20 people on it, can you give me some examples of when Dowie, that's her family nickname, it's a story for another time, can you tell me when Dowie has said, we're all bundles of contradictions? Here are some of the examples I got back. Cousin Justin is a germaphobe, was the most diligent among us about observing COVID protocols, fastidious about hand washing and mask wearing. Cousin Justin is also a foodie. And if that means that the best Chinese food comes from the gas station with a D health rating, he'll eat it. Aunt Bobby doesn't like her food touching. She likes clear delineations of space between all the items on her plate. Doesn't like cheese on top of the burger, doesn't like ice cream on top of the pie, but one of her favorite foods of all time is soggy salad. Day-old salad, layers of lettuce melting into tomato and softened cucumber, dressing weighing down each bite, bundles of contradictions. For me, the one that sprung to mind very clearly was about pregnancy. So many people ask me, they still ask me, did you like being pregnant? And I did. I loved being pregnant. I felt powerful and strong and beautiful. But I was also sick as a dog for the first 14 weeks, followed by gestational diabetes and then postpartum preeclampsia. How was it that I could have endless energy and fall in love with my body for the first time, while also simultaneously being kind of a medical wreck? My pregnancy was a bundle of contradictions. When I drive my kid that I birthed to daycare each day, we pass a mural emblazoned with one of Walt Whitman's most famous quotations from his poem, Song of Myself. Do I contradict myself? Very well then, I contradict myself. I am large. I contain multitudes. I am large. I contain multitudes, and within those multitudes are bound to be contradictions, bundles of them. To be a human is a messy, non-linear, inexplicable thing. To be human is to exist within a matrix of contradictions, to know the beauty and the pain, that the paradox of living is that it is never just one thing at any given time. It is a spiritual exercise to accept these contradictions, to find meaning and peace within the paradox. All too often, religious institutions insist on a kind of neat and tidy understanding of the world, of the cosmos, that invariably cannot be squared with lived reality. Too often we inherit ideas that to be spiritually mature is to have it all figured out, for a kind of rational through line to exist in our thinking, in our being, in our relationships. We feel a desire for things to be neater, for the foods on our plate not to touch, for there to be clean lines in the sand that we do not cross, for us to be wholly comprehensible people. Poet Christian Wyman says, contradictions are not impediments to spiritual life. Rather, they are an integral part of the spiritual life. Every highly conscious person I have met has struggled with more than one deep contradiction. Contradictions don't encourage you to abandon your critical faculties, but rather to sharpen them. It's one of the most cherished values of Unitarian Universalism, the existence of multiple truths at once. The struggle with deep contradictions. What you know about God is a piece of the truth, writes UU Layla Ibrahim. Each of us holds a piece of the truth. No one has a monopoly on ultimate truth, and for each of us to exist means multiple truths existing all at once. Unitarian Universalism praxis is rife with paradox, some of which came up in my question box sermon. We tolerate everyone and everything except for intolerance. You are welcome here, just as you are, but arrive for transformation, because that's what we've signed up for. Carl Jung wrote a lot about paradox. He believed that this tension, learning to get comfortable with the tension of paradox, it widens consciousness beyond the narrow confines of a tyrannical intellect. Zen Buddhist priest Kriti says, to awaken the unknowable, we need paradox. We need the irrational non-logic that allows for the expression of transcendental truth. Contradictions are not impediments to the spiritual life. Rather, they are an integral part of the spiritual life. What is required of us to be spiritually mature people is to identify the contradiction, to identify the paradox, and get comfortable with the tension, the space between two poles of truth. Most of the time, we think of tension as bad. It feels bad. We hold tension in our bodies and need massage to work it out. Tension in our relationships that provokes anxiety and stress. But spiritual tension can be productive. It can be within that tension that God is revealed. Unitarian Universalist minister D.L. Heffer says, my theology understands humanity as simultaneously fragile and resilient, weak and strong, greedy and generous, mean and compassionate. I see the divine spark in the tension between these opposites. In the tension is the divine. In the tension is the possibility for transcendental truth, a widening of our consciousness, a sharpening of our critical faculties. It doesn't always have to square. It doesn't always have to make sense. And in fact, in that illogic, there is God. There is the holy. One particular manifestation of this illogic is in our own very existence. Why were we created? Why are we here now? Rabbi Simcha Bunim was a Hasid teacher in the late 18th century. He is credited with encouraging his students to carry a piece of paper in one pocket that reads, I am but dust and ashes. And in the other hand, the other pocket, a piece of paper that says, for my sake was the world created. When feeling proud, we should be reminded of our humble beginnings and our ends. And when we are feeling insignificant and disconnected, we should be reminded of our holy and divine birthright. In each hand, we hold truth. And the space between the push and pull of our conscience leads us towards an understanding that we need both to be whole. We need both to be healed. We need both to be free. In one hand, faith, and in the other, doubt. You need doubt to have faith. Faith, by definition, the holding on to a belief in spite of doubt. You need doubt to have faith. Between the two exists the transcendental. Archbishop Desmond Tutu says, courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act despite it. You cannot have courage without fear. You cannot be courageous without also being afraid. You need both. In each hand is the possibility for action, courageous action or cowardly action, but you know the quality of one by experiencing the quality of the other. And life, the ultimate paradox. For what is life if there is no death? Endless, unceasing existence. No life is defined by death. And death is defined by life. To live fully is to know the tension between these two truths. To live wholly is to live in the inherent tension between all truths and in that bundle of contradictions. To say, I find God here, in the messiness of my being, in the blurred lines within my consciousness, in the soulful way we seek peace and acceptance amid chaos and uncertainty. Unitarian Universalism is constantly asking us to examine ourselves, our lives, our choices. How are we living? Are we inviting in the holy, or are we shutting it out in favor of comfort, in favor of clarity and bold lines of certainty? But the Unitarian Universalism of the 21st century requires we look both inward and outward for answers to questions simultaneously. As Reverend Victoria Safford says, our work as 21st century Unitarian Universalists is to attend to both at once, never without the other, because in fact, they are not as separate as they seem. They are entirely intertwined. So this week, as you go about your days, get curious about the tensions that exist within you. Carve out 30 seconds when you feel the agitation of conflicting emotions, when you feel confused by your own irrationality. Find a quiet moment to observe yourself trying to untangle knots within your own mind, trying to make sense of things that resist easy logic. I invite you to spend but a few seconds noticing it, and then to call it holy. Tell yourself, aha, I found a bit of God. May you move in your week with confidence that faith needs doubt. May you seek a spiritual maturity that aims to hold multiple truths at once. And may you know you are both dust and ashes, and the singular reason the world was created. Let us learn to live in the tension together. May it be so, and amen.
As Jendai extinguishes the chalice, please join me in the words printed in your order of service. We extinguish our chalice, but the flame remains in us as we live into the mission of this congregation, building beloved community with compassion, service, and empowerment.
Beloveds, know that the bundle of contradictions that exists within you is normal, healthy, and right, and dare I say, holy. May you go through your week knowing that you need doubt to have faith, you need fear to have courage. Let us practice